Banning same-sex marriage, what about that part?
I am in favor of traditional marriage between a man and a woman, and I am perfectly fine with anyone having any sort of voluntary sexual arrangement they seek. That's a different thing from whether the government should attach benefits to that personal relationship.
But you think it's a sin to have same-sex marriage?
I mean, I'm confused. Are you asking me as a religious Jew what I think about biblically?
I'm just asking, is it a sin to be gay?
Is it a sin to be gay? I mean, how long do we have here? 2 minutes? I mean, if the basic idea is that sexual orientation is up for government regulation, I'm not in favor of the government regulating the private consenting sexual activity of adults. That is a different thing, once again, from whether the government ought to engage.
The gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. Green.
That was quite entertaining from someone that had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, and everyone knows it. But
I move to take her words down. Completely inappropriate.
Yeah, stand by just a second while we...
Ben Shapiro and Marjorie Taylor Greene leave Eric Swallwell humiliated in an explosive hearing that exposed the failures of the radical left. Watch as Shapiro's sharp logic and Greene's fiery conviction corner Swallwell and leave him with nowhere to hide. This is the kind of debate the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. Subscribe for more breaking political reactions and patriot commentary.
Mr. Swallwell.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro, thank you for joining us today. I think it is important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And the country has, in the last couple weeks, talked a lot about and Googled Project 2025. It's one of the most Googled search terms right now. And you're not going to get any censorship from me. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, I think it would help us understand, on just like a scale of 0 to 100%, how much do you support Project 2025?
I think, like President Trump, I haven't looked all that deeply at Project 2025, but it seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so, well, let's just talk about pieces of it, and I guess you can tell me if you support it. You probably want less bureaucracy, right?
I do.
I want less bureaucracy. You want more efficiency?
I do.
I want more efficiency. You want taxpayer money spent wisely?
I do. Congrats on becoming a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents would be proud. Mass deportations, it calls for that. Do you support that part?
I support the deportation of any illegal immigrant who is in the United States who is not of benefit to the generalized American public.
So if they're picking agriculture that puts food on the tables of everyday Americans, they've never committed a crime inside the United States, they didn't come across with documents, should they be deported?
If they have not paid taxes and if their draw on the taxpayer benefits are larger than the contribution they are making to the economy, or if they're involved in criminal activity, they should be deported.
How do we measure that?
The same way that the IRS measures my income every year. It seems like if the IRS can track down every aspect of every receipt that I've ever submitted, and
so
they can do so for hundreds of millions of other Americans, they can do that for illegal immigrants as well, except for the fact that no one knows how many are in the country thanks to this administration.
So you would be cool with creating a system where they could pay those taxes if they wanted to and then stay and work and put food on our table?
It depends on how long it would take for them to pay the taxes, and they would also have to go presumably to the back of the line, although I'm not sure why I'm testifying about immigration policy at this point.
How about banning the abortion pill? That's part of Project 2025. Do you support that part?
I think that that's a state-by-state issue on a personal level.
I'm just asking you.
Sure, I'm a fully pro-life person, which means that I'm not in favor of the distribution of the abortion pill.
Banning same-sex marriage, what about that part?
I am in favor of traditional marriage between a man and a woman, and I'm perfectly fine with anyone having any sort of voluntary sexual arrangement they seek. That's a different thing from whether the government should attach benefits to that personal relationship.
But you think it's a sin to have same-sex marriage?
I mean, I'm confused. Are you asking me as a religious Jew what I think about biblically?
I'm just asking, is it a sin to be gay?
Is it a sin to be gay? I mean, how long do we have here? 2 minutes? I mean, if the basic idea is that sexual orientation is up for government regulation, I'm not in favor of the government regulating the private consenting sexual activity of adults. That is a different thing, once again, from whether the government ought to engage in actual benefits for particular sexual arrangements that adults make.
But again, just you to me, is it a sin or not?
From a religious Jewish perspective, orientation is not a sin, but activity is. That's also the same perspective of most major religions, so far as I'm aware.
Okay. And how about cutting Social Security? you support that part of 2025?
I'm not sure what Project 2025's position on Social Security is. I'm in favor of the restructuring of Social Security along the lines of privatization and lowering and increasing the retirement age, because you, as well as every other congressperson, knows Social Security is going to go bankrupt, and yet everyone seems to have an interest in lying about it for the next decade and a half until we have to take austerity measures or radically increase inflation or taxes.
And bans against books about slavery. Do you support that part about?
Why would I possibly be in favor of bans about books about slavery? That would be absolutely ridiculous. What I am in favor of is the idea that school libraries should be able to make decisions along the lines of what exactly is appropriate for, say, a 7th grader and whether they ought to be treated to cartoons and genderqueer. That's not quite the same thing.
And just because we found some receipts, you did say, I think homosexual activity is a sin.
Yes, I'm a religious
I'm
Jew, that's
sure
true.
there's a genetic component.
You found me out.
Orientation. But the view of all religious people I know has always been that sexual behavior is something that is up to you. And you said, I may have a desire to sleep with many women, but I do not.
I agree with me. Yes, that's true.
Congratulations on your, I'm sure it's very hard to restrain yourself. Mr. Chairman, I just want to shift to Alvin Bragg. He was supposed to be here this week, and he's not coming. And Hunter Biden was supposed to testify. Now he's not testifying. We were supposed to have votes on articles of impeachment, and we didn't. And again, we're just wondering, you guys write great press releases, but the payoff seems to never come. And so I guess we will keep waiting, and we'll do hearings like this. And finally, Chairman, you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater, and that's a restriction on speech, as you have recognized before. But you can yell theater in a crowded fire, and you all can continue to do that all you want, and we'll just waste the American people's time.
Gentleman's time has expired, and I remind him of the first rule of holes. When you're in one, stop digging. Chair recognizes Ms.
The gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. Green.
That was quite entertaining from someone that had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, and everyone knows it. But
I
thanks
move
for
to take her
entertaining
words
us.
down. Completely inappropriate.
Yeah, stand by just a second while we research the rule. Give me just a second.
I need to make sure I have my full 5 minutes.
A motion has been made. The committee will suspend, and the gentleman will state the words that he wishes taken down.
Everything that the gentlelady from Georgia has said.
No, you need to be more specific. Mr. Gill.
Accusations of an affair with a Chinese spy. Those are engaging in personalities, and those words should be taken down, and the gentlelady should not be able to speak anymore in this hearing.
That is not the latter part of that is not an appropriate motion, but we will evaluate the striking of those words. Give me just a second. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Georgia and asks if she would like to retract those words.
No, I will not.
For those members who are wondering, we are looking into Clause 1 of Rule 17 and the rules of the House. Okay, the chair rules that those words that were spoken are not going to be stricken from the record.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
I don't think there's any question about.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe right now because this is the place where we break down what the mainstream media won't show you. We don't sugarcoat, we don't spin, we tell it straight. And what I saw today was one of the most explosive hearings in recent memory. Ben Shapiro and Marjorie Taylor Greene took on Eric Swallwell, and what happened inside that chamber was pure political fireworks. Let's set the stage. Eric Swallwell, a man who has built his career on arrogance, theatrics, and blind loyalty to the Democrat machine, thought today was going to be his moment. He thought he'd walk into that hearing room, deliver a few cheap shots, and walk out looking like some sort of champion of the left. But what he got instead was a brutal dose of reality. First up, Ben Shapiro. Now, say what you will about Shapiro, but there's one thing nobody can deny. When it comes to facts, logic, and precision, the man doesn't miss. He walked into that hearing like a surgeon with a scalpel, slicing through every single weak argument Swallwell tried to put forward. Swallwell threw out the usual Democrat talking points about democracy being under threat, about Republicans being extreme, about protecting the American people. But here's the problem. Every one of those talking points collapses under the weight of reality. And that's exactly what Ben exposed. He showed how Swallwell and his party claim to defend democracy while weaponizing government agencies against political opponents. He showed how they call conservatives extremists while pushing policies that weaken our borders, erode our freedoms, and put hardworking Americans last. He showed how Swallwell's so-called defense of the people is nothing more than a smokescreen for big government control. Every time Swallwell tried to talk his way out of it, Ben cut him down with a fact, a statistic, or a historical reality that completely dismantled his point. The best part? You could see the frustration on Swallwell's face. The smirk that he usually hides behind faded into irritation and eventually into outright humiliation. That's what happens when a career politician meets a man who lives and breathes facts. But if Ben brought the scalpel, Marjorie Taylor Greene brought the hammer. She didn't tiptoe around Swallwell's record. She smashed right into it. She reminded him of his embarrassing ties, his reckless decisions, and yes, the infamous scandal that has haunted him for years. She asked the tough questions Democrats never want to answer. And she tied every bit of it back to the failures of the Democrat Party as a whole. When Marjorie speaks, it's not polished political double talk. It's raw, it's unapologetic, and it's from the heart. And that's exactly what makes the establishment tremble. She called out the hypocrisy of Democrats who claim to care about national security while turning a blind eye to open borders. She called out their hypocrisy on law and order, pretending to support police while backing policies that handcuff them. She called out their hypocrisy on corruption, pretending to serve the people while enriching themselves and protecting their own. And here's where things got really uncomfortable for Swallwell, when Marjorie reminded him, point blank, that the American people are not fooled anymore. We've seen their games. We've watched their lies. And no amount of media cover-up or late-night comedy shows can erase the truth. This was not just about one man being humiliated. This was about pulling the mask off the entire Democrat agenda. Because when you strip away the polished speeches, the staged outrage, and the endless media spin, what's left is a party terrified of accountability. A party terrified of debate. A party terrified of anyone who will actually fight back. And that's exactly what Shapiro and Greene did. They fought back. They didn't play defense, they didn't fold under pressure, and they didn't apologize for telling the truth. That's what we've been missing in Washington for decades. Too many Republicans in the past have played nice while Democrats ran circles around them. But those days are over. We're watching a new generation of fighters step up, and they're not afraid to humiliate the left in their own house. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture here. Why does this matter? It matters because this hearing